Hey, all, Chris Parry from Equity.Guru with another 3-minute hit. We talked about a company earlier this month called Medexus Pharmaceutical. MDP is the ticker symbol. And what we said at that time was, hey, these guys have got a drug, treosulfan, that's been going through the FDA approval process. They're at stage 3 clinical trials. It didn't necessarily go as planned in the beginning, despite the fact that this drug is approved in Canada, it's approved in Europe, it's approved all over the world, and there's definitely a better outcome for patients than the alternates that are existing in the US right now. The FDA asks for more information rather than saying a yes or a no. Now, in a lot of cases, that's a death knell for clinical trials because companies don't have the money to go out there and get more data, which means extending trials, which means going back to trials. It can be the hard stop for a lot of these drug submissions. Not the case in this instance. Because this drug has been approved in so many places, getting the data that was required by the FDA was simply a matter of going back into what was already done. The partners of Medexus, they're used to this kind of thing, they're good at this kind of thing, and they've resubmitted that information, which means the FDA is now on the clock. At best, 2 months, at worst, 6 months from here, there will be an answer on treosulfan being approved in the United States. Now, what does it do? Man, I could go through it for you, but basically it's part of a treatment for people that are getting stem cell transplants. So it's a small number of people, right? This isn't going to be Benadryl. This isn't going to go and be used across the world by all people in all things. It's a small number of people that are going to be benefited by this, but stem cell transplants, growing industry, and realistically, there's a lot of money in it. So even a small number of patients means a potential really large playground for which to make revenue in the US for a company like Medexus that's only a $40 million market cap. If this gets approved in the US, the tens of millions that will come from treosulfan will be a large, big add to their revenues. But because it's not a drug that's going to be in drugstores and sold in Shoppers Drug Mart to 50 million people, they don't have to create a gigantic sales force, right? They've got to just zero in on the handful of physicians that will need access to this thing, and the monies will come. So, big deal, right? Lots of stuff. Once they get that approval, I would expect Medexus to really get a jump in sales price sometime in the next 6 months. Now, it's not going to be tomorrow. There's at least 2 months window before that happens. But in the meantime, people are watching and people are accumulating. And the stock itself, over the last couple of weeks, has gone from $1.70 to $2.30 right now. So you've already, if you've been watching us, if you've been listening to what we say, you've already had an opportunity to take that $1.75 up to $2.50. Now it's about $2.30. It's finding a floor, but any new news towards this thing is going to move it up. In the meantime, you've got a big portfolio of other drugs that deal with rare diseases that Medexus is already selling in North America and beyond. So there's revenue coming in. Now, will that revenue shoot the moon over the next quarter? Probably not. There's probably a little space there where you can still accumulate your own cash and start taking a position. Is it going to drop from 230 downwards? Who can say? But overall, in the long term, if this drug gets approved in the US, it means a massive boost to Medexus's revenues. If it needs to get pushed along a little bit more, it doesn't really matter because they've got existing products that are generating revenues, right? So you got to be careful with what you say about a pharmaceutical company. You can't make great promises. All you can do is point to existing revenues, which are significant, existing products, which are significant and selling. The fact that Medexus is getting access to a load of these drugs as a licensed product because they have a reputation of being able to penetrate into the sales networks, this is a good sign. Now, it was oversold a year ago because of this delay. Now you've had a year. You've had a year for this progress to take place. Now you're at a place where delays are not expected anymore. We're on the clock. If you're going to get into Medexus before the news on the face of the clinical trials comes out, this is the time to do it. This is the time to accumulate. You're still going to get great value. even though this thing has gone up from a $1.75 to $2.50 in just the last month, you're still dealing at only a $46 million company, and the revenues from this drug will dwarf that, I would imagine. So look, not making you any promises, as always. I don't tell you what to buy. I don't tell you what to sell. I just tell you what we're buying. And we looked at Medexus a month ago, said this is oversold. We expect news to be coming. And within the month, we got news. So do your own research, do your own due diligence, talk to your rabbi, talk to your mom, whoever you need to. But please have MDP on your radar. You don't need to buy it. You just need to know it. You need to have it somewhere in your brain so that when this thing gets really red hot and news is expected any day, you're not caught by surprise.